one of the supporting characters in the new Netflix movie Me Time at one point looks at Kevin Hart and Mark Wahlberg's characters doing something zany and just shaking her head and saying, "This is so stupid." Couldn't have said it better myself. Let's talk about Me Time. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new Netflix film Me Time. This is starring Kevin Hart and Mark Wahlberg, like I mentioned. In fact, it's the third Kevin Hart Netflix movie in just a little bit over a year. None of them, have been a huge success with this reviewer. His movie Fatherhood was okay. I think I gave that a B-, but the one he had a couple months ago with Woody Harrelson, the man from Toronto, not very good at all. And as you might suss out from my intro there, I wasn't a huge fan of this one either, but we'll talk about the reasons why here in just a moment. First, I want to welcome you to Dan Reviews It. Thanks for finding my video and my channel. Tons of movie and TV reviews here, posting almost every day. At least I try to post 5 or 6 times a week, if nothing else. So think about subscribing or just comment or like this video. That all helps the channel out too. So let's get into the specifics of this film. So the character Sonny is played by Kevin Hart. He is a stay-at-home dad who is questioning his worth as a person, which is honestly kind of silly for the plot of a 2022 movie. His wife is a big architect, so she makes a lot of money. And so they've decided as a couple to have him stay at home, raise the kids. And, look, this isn't the 70s here. My brother's a stay-at-home dad. There's a lot of stay-at-home dads out there. My dad did it when I was in high school. It happens, and it's not weird. So, they're making sort of a thing about it that seems a bit antiquated, but let's continue on with the story. So Mark Wahlberg plays this guy, Huck, and they were childhood friends, but had sort of lost touch over the recent years. But Huck is getting everybody together for this huge 44th birthday bash, in which he went all out and rented a bus that he is plastered with his likeness, which is interesting for this character because he owes another character played by Jimmy O. Yang a lot of money in the $47,000 range. So why is he going around town with his face plastered all over the place if he is kind of in hiding? I don't know. One of the many odd character choices about this film. But you've got Regina Hall as Sonny's wife, and some other people you might recognize as well, John Amos and Anna Maria Horsford from old 70s and 80s sitcoms. And Seal appears, the singer Seal, as himself, just like he did in Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. Much better film. So, yeah, look, I like Kevin Hart. I do. And I think maybe he's getting a little overexposed. This is his now third movie in about 2 months, because he also played a voice in the DC League of Super Pets, which is in theaters now, in addition to the 2 recent Netflix movies. And I think there was, maybe before the pandemic, there was a little bit of like Kevin Hart fatigue as well, because he kept coming out with like 2 to 3 movies every year. He did the Jumanji stuff, and he did all his other stuff. And in fact, he has worked with this writer-director before, John Hamburg, because he wrote, I don't think he directed, but he wrote the Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish movie Night School, which was okay. I think I maybe gave that a C-. But this guy has written and or directed some really great comedies over the last 2 decades, including the Meet the Parents series, the Zoolander movies, and a personal favorite of mine, I Love You, Man. The guy has the chops, but it really was not on display here. I will admit, probably the only good thing about this movie is that there are a few minor laughs to be had. To be honest, most of them were either from Regina Hall or Kevin Hart. I think this guy knows how to write for Kevin Hart. Mark Wahlberg, I like in many things, but and we've seen him do comedy. The Other Guys is a great movie, and he's very funny in that. But they didn't really give his character anything to work off of here. All the lines from him are pretty just standard, and this whole movie is very standard. It seems like it should have taken place about 20 years ago. And not just because the stay-at-home dad thing seems very dated and weird at this point in time, but just a lot of the things that they're doing in this movie, talking about you know, jealousy issues, and here's an interesting one. I don't know when they wrote this movie, but at one point, to take revenge, Kevin Hart's character actually poops in the bed of this one character, and it's like, okay, is that a callback to the Amber Heard trial, or like when did this movie get written? I don't know, but anyway, there are just so many bad things about this movie. The CGI is terrible. There's a few scenes of with animals and stuff, including a mountain lion at one point, and it looks really bad. And look, I don't expect major CGI from a comedy film. Although Kevin Hart has done some comedy films with a lot of big explosions and stuff, like the Ride Along series, for example. And Jumanji has a lot of, CGI in it, and that looks great. But of course, these budgets are much, much higher. But, this is another example of okay, Netflix, paid some people with some big names, Kevin Hart, Mark Wahlberg, to headline this movie. It'll be number one probably on their movie chart for about a week, and then it will drop, and then no one will ever talk about it or think about it again. That is the offensive part of this movie. It's just so bland and unfunny, and the jokes all seem dated. Nothing makes sense even. Like, so many plot holes, and I know there's sort of a different curve for comedy, because we can sort of assume, okay, well, maybe these people aren't necessarily living in the real world because they live in zany world where things are always funny and zany. But when something like this takes place in what's supposed to be the real world, real types of things should be kind of happening. And over and over again, they sort of break that rule here with this movie. So look, I'm not going to fail it just because I did get a few laughs from it, and it is a comedy. So my rule of thumb on comedies is if I laugh at least a small handful of times, it's done at least part of its job. But this is a bad, bad movie. I think at last look on Rotten Tomatoes, it was at 9%. Down from 11% this morning, because it just dropped today. So, we'll see how much further it drops down. I'm giving Me Time a D. All right, that will do it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see everybody next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.